right, so today's video, we're going to be watching a Bronze 1 tank on PC, on Numbani, on Ramattra. Sorry, I was just very surprised by the Ramattra pick on this map. We'll see. They say, hello, I am a Ramattra one-trick in comp. Well, that answers that. And also a fairly new player to Overwatch in general. I started playing all at the tail end of Season 19. I got Ramatra's Galactic Weapon from the end of Season drives, and have slowly clawed my way up to Bronze 1. I am still working on trying to not overextend for a kill, and my supports were really good this game, and I feel like I let them down. My aim isn't the best, but that is something that I'm working on with time. My team lost this match, and I genuinely don't know what we could have done differently to win. I did my best to group up with the team on respawn, but there were definitely a few times that I forgot. Any feedback is appreciated. I really enjoy Overwatch. I am really enjoying Overwatch, and I can't wait to improve. All right, let's just see what happens. I mean, this is one of those games where I kind of just need to break it down as best as I can. I will say Numbani on this map can be tough at times because of mobility, but for Ramattra that is, but it doesn't mean it can't work. I mean, it can work, so let's see. All right, here we go. So let's see here on Ramattra. So first step here, I'm going to tell you right now, I want to ask a question here, chat, because I think this is a good way to approach maps, because I'm going to be doing a map video here over the next couple of months, but one thing I want to show you here. Chat, when you see this, what is your first reaction? I'm just kind of curious now to kind of get an idea of where we're going with this, because I have a different, I have a feeling I have a different reaction on what to do here. I think some of chat's already figuring it out, and this is the way to do it. So I think a lot of people will try to engage this, right? And try to kill the Orisa. Now, I'm not saying don't poke the Orisa, but I really do believe that if you just go up top left here, you're going to get full map control and they won't be able to do anything. A lot of people on Numbani just kind of like run it down mid over here over and over again. And like, you just lose because it just isn't, the map isn't quite made to like just run it down mid here, right? It wasn't, they wanted it to be more of like a high ground control. Now, of course, in a lot of ranks, high ground isn't as important, but this is a situation where I really do believe that like, this is where you can make or break a game right away, is by just taking the map control away, right? The only thing that you have to make sure to do is rotate your teammates over, because obviously like your teammates are taking their time. But if their Orisa's gonna sit here, you already have free reign this way. And like, this isn't the highest high ground anymore either. They shortened the high ground quite a bit. So it's like, think about that sometimes rather than just like run it down on a tank over and over again and not get any good results on it. We'll see what happens, of course, but I wanted to kind of showcase that right away of how like, you could just run up to high ground and take advantage of that. But see now, like, you're just staying here, see? So like, you're playing cover, good job. Like, playing cover is good, but like, do you see how you just ended up in the middle here? And now you're doing it, see? But thankfully it works out because you get the kills. I do want to reiterate, just because that had success, chat, I do think that in a lot of ranks, it is still good to take the map control there, because I think that this type of like team fight will be very 50-50 or like hit or miss on what happens here. I think going high ground gives you a high percentage. So either way, it worked out. So, you know, I think at least. Go to sleep. There you go. Yep, put your shield up behind. So far, okay. Yeah, I mean, Nemesis form, go for target focuses the Moira. Good target focus, nice job. Look at your HP, make sure to just block. Here's that block. Whew. So far, so fine, I think. I'm trying to see what happens next here. Okay, you're on the cart. All right, yeah, I want to show you, like, sometimes people don't know when to get off cart or be aggressive. I'm gonna give people a bit of a tip on what I do on, like, how to decide if I should go on the cart or not. Look up top, there's a number. It says 5. If I see even there, like, one other person, I'm leaving the cart to go take map control. Right now, I want to control the map. I want to control that. But if you look up top, you see 5 people on the cart. See? This is where, and again, I know it's in bronze, so I don't expect this to be a thing that will happen a lot. But the idea is that you want to keep climbing, right? So that's also just taking that knowledge and kind of leveling it up. And 5 on cart is just not a way that you would want to control the map. There's an opportunity here to basically just be really aggressive on this Orisa, throw a shield right here behind on the Ana, and get a free kill on Orisa in map control. Of course, I think this is going to work out, because if their Orisa's playing here and their Ana's here and the rest of the team is back here, you should, in theory, win this team fight. But you see if a team takes advantage of it. Good May wall. So the May wall ended up being instead of your shield. There you go. Free kill. Nice job by your team. I don't know too much. I actually don't know too much about like Vishkar in general, so it's exciting to see that. There it is. So far, so good. I mean, like, you're kind of just doing exactly what I see in some bronze games. Just everybody kind of just chills and battles it out in the middle. So far, you haven't had to do too much, which is nice. Like it hasn't been like a lot of difficult decision making yet. So it's always good when you have those starts. Yeah, I mean, why not throw the vortex on the floor? They're gonna get you anyway. Okay, so this is a weird one because you did the thing where you can kind of get like stuck in the mud or lost. I want you to, and this goes for any rank, I want you to start thinking about, be more decisive on your target selection. It's easier said than done. So like, if you're in this situation, you have two options. One is I think you're making the right play by going into their backline, but if I saw the Orisa, this is where I might slow this play down and actually try to help right side with their Moira and their Freya being too aggressive. So normally, I like the idea of flanking backline, but when there's an Orisa here, this Orisa can basically CC you into oblivion. So I think what I would do, and again, this is probably like a 55-45 play on like what you make decision-wise. I would actually commit to the backline here. Let me explain why. If you didn't have the point, I would say play it a little bit safer to take advantage of these kills. But because you already have the point, I think actually killing the Ana here or trying to all in this will be beneficial to your team. So I think the correct decision is to kill this Ana. And then everything else will kind of like have a domino effect to it, and you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything else will all work out because your spawns are right here. Yeah, so we'll see what you choose. Yeah. You just ran in circles. See? And that's just indecisiveness, so something I can already tell you to work on here, right? Something to work on here for sure is decisiveness on your target. Don't find yourself just running in circles. I do it sometimes, and I'll call it out when I do. I'm like, dude, I just ran in circles doing nothing. Good reaction there. It's a target in front of you. Orisa should not have ultimate. Use your shield to block off line of sight. So, shield here. So, a lot of people forget about this. Holy crap, I need man. I should just pause this and be like, dude, the visual clutter. I know this is just a really unlucky timing on pause, but this would be great. I could really get some from Twitter likes with this one, right? You know. So anyway, but yeah, anyway, I already forgot what I was talking about because I got distracted by that giant thing in front of me. Oh yeah, a lot of people forget to use their shields to block off a line of sights on supports. It's really easy to do that. Ramattra has a pretty annoying shield to deal with because I actually find that a lot of people don't like tend to shoot the Ramattra shield because they know it has like a limited time. Shoot the shield. Trust me. Like, I'm not saying always shoot Ramattra shield, but like in situations where it's just being a nuisance to your team, you might as well get rid of it, even though like it does require some team effort. So either way, point being is use your shield a little bit more to block off line of sights to make it a little bit more difficult. Here we go. Remember, less tank punching. You're gonna probably get the Orisa, but I want to get you out of the habit of constantly going for the tanks. Obviously, that's what was in front of you, but remember that. Vortex. A little bit of a note on Vortex here, and I see people do this sometimes. I think a good way of approaching Vortexes is not put it where they're at, put it where you think they're gonna go, right? Because sometimes you'll put it directly on somebody or near them, and they just walk out of it right away. But the idea is the way I follow up on Ramattra kills sometimes is not put it placed on top of them. It's going, I know they're going to have to back up this way, so why not Vortex like this way, right? So that way when they're disengaging out, you can kill them. And if they don't disengage out, they're still in it. And if they go this way, it's a free kill. Do you see what I'm saying? The replay stuff, it will be checked off or something like that. I don't know exactly. But anyway, point I'm making here is when you use your Vortex sometimes, and again, it's going to be situational, but think about where they're going to go. It's like projectile aim, right? You want to predict where they're going to go, not where they're currently at, right? Oh, yeah, exactly. Or it's where you don't want them to go. That also is a very good way to describe it, right? Like if they don't go this way because it's in the way, they're gonna be funneled to a spot that's a free kill, as we were just talking about before that, right? So sometimes it's not just about putting on where they're at. It's where you don't, like you said, where you don't want them to go, or just slow them down when they do go that way. All right, here we go. Remember, it's okay to push up a little bit here. The space creation, your teammates will thank you. Now no one's on the cart, but that's fine. And Haterist, thanks for the 6 months of that Prime stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. That was certainly a Favre ultimate at range. Put your block up. Yep. There's ulting first on you now. Now, there's an approach here, chat, that I actually think can work. You can also go high ground and just flank them and Nemesis form back to your team. You go high ground, you drop behind them. I think right now you're going to become, your team's playstyle is going to become very predictable, where you're all just going the same exact way over and over again. And when you do that, it's really easy for the other team to play against that. Thankfully, their Orisa doesn't know about cover a lot of the time and just sits up there up front. Remember, chat, yes, Orisa is a tanky tank. Orisa's not a tanky tank if you sit in the middle of the open and you don't play cover. You're a very cooldown-based tank. Every time your cooldowns are out, you should be already at your spot of survivability, not in front of them unless you have an ultimate to be able to bring that gold back. Remember, the reason why Orisa has such a low win rate a lot of the time is because of the play style, it feels like. It's the reason why they don't buff Orisa a lot of the time, because when Orisa is played well and you use your cooldowns efficiently, you're going to be fine. I know this is a weird segue considering we're watching a Ramattra VOD and has nothing to do with it, but I think it's also good for people who play Orisa to understand that, like, just play corners, be aggressive when your cooldowns are there, but always be ready to fall back. You're one of the easiest tanks to kill when you don't have your cooldowns, right? You gotta at least have one of them. So I want you to be a little bit careful on that for people who play Orisa. That, in my opinion, is why a lot of the Orisa win rate is actually really low, is because a lot of people are told to either go Orisa or, like, hear that Orisa is really good and then just sit in the middle of the open. You're gonna fall over if you do. Your hitbox is, like, too large to, like, not play corners and walls when you don't have cooldowns. You're just going to fall over. Anyway, sorry, I just needed to kind of point that out. Did they use a Nemesis form randomly sometimes? I agree. Sometimes, and this is a good way to do it. You're right, like, in this sense. You just put a Vortex there. I don't think you need to sit here and just do this and Nemesis form up, right? Like, this is what their vision is. If I see this, I'm going, okay, I'm going to back up now, right? Like, that's it. Like, you're so far back on your Nemesis form, you need to surprise people. And that is a true statement of, like, don't just use it to use it. My guess, this is your vision. You put a Vortex down and you want to follow up on your Vortex. So your mindset is, I am now faster, right? Is that correct? That's probably what it's going to be. It's like, I'm quicker in Nemesis form. I'm going to get to them. It's going to be great. The problem is that by the time you get to them, Moira can use Fade, and now you're stuck in, like, this endless loop of never getting to the player. So that's why space creation is so important, is you want to minimize the distance on follow-up, right? If you Nemesis form from here and you're shooting at their Ana, you're going to get nothing done. But if you methodically take the map control and the Ana stays here, then you Nemesis form, like, here, and now the Ana can't run away. But if you do it from here, you have all day to disengage. Again, it's a bronze game, so, like, the disengages don't happen as quickly sometimes, but it's a good habit to get yourself into regardless of the rank that you're in. I really do believe that, like, the left click becomes really strong once you get that first perk, the one that does the burst. See the burst right there on the shot? It's like a shotgun. Once you get that going, your poke damage becomes really, really strong on top of what it already was. Also, Vortex can be eaten by Orisa, so be careful of doing that over and over again. Thankfully, your teammate has a good ult here. Kill the Pharah. There you go. Now, this is a weird one because you have two options. It's either fall back or go and trade backline. I actually would have killed their Ana. I think their Ana would have been a free kill. At the same time, it's all hindsight, right? You lost your team anyway. Take the map control. Don't stand here. Be ready to back away. Okay, I want to see what happens here before I talk about what's next. Okay, there it is. Yep. I'm still letting this team fight go. There you go. So let's talk about this. This is something that I see people do even in top 500, and I had to improve at this myself. Just because you win a team fight does not mean you need to stay there the whole time. And you go, what do you mean? You were down numbers massively, right? It was a 2v2. What you do is you take as much card control as you can get, and then once you see that they're kind of getting back in numbers, or at least like the first hero you see, right? When you see that first hero back, they have a massive numbers advantage, right? Think about the spawn here, okay? Here's the defensive spawn. You're going to spawn here. You have to go out this doorway. Here's where your teammates spawn. Okay? So, there is no reason to keep fighting that unless, and keep in mind, you have a insane ult combo. Let's say that your Mei has ultimate and you decide you're going to go for it, right? That's different, right? I'm not going to take away those plays. That wasn't going to happen in this situation. So what you need to do is get the cart to basically where you can and then back away. This cart creates a line of sight, right? So in your mind, you're like, oh, we have to finish the map now, right? We've struggled to get the map completed. This has to be where we finish the map. This wasn't your time, in my opinion. If you survived with 3 people, I can justify it more. There's more opportunity. But what you did is you get the cart here, and now the cart's created a new line of sight, right? This is going to change how they have to play defensively, and if they don't, the cart will end up hecking over the other team, and you're going to be completely fine. So you have to think about that type of stuff when you're in this situation of like, okay, I'm getting space, but I need to back up now, right? We have the cart here. This cart is now going to cause a problem for line of sights. They can't play some of the sight lines they were playing before. We take what we can get here, wait for numbers, right? They're going to still be setting up, wait for your teammates to come back, and then go again, right? I know you did mention that you did do this occasionally, and you wanted to kind of like know more about this. I just wanted to reiterate to you, this is a good example of that type of situation, okay? So let's head to this. Now, of course, you go down, you waste an ultimate. In fact, your teammates wasted 2 ultimates. You could argue that you did trade the Orisa ultimate, but you already traded your tank ult, so basically you ended up also over ulting because of staying there for too long. Shield up, shield up. I want you to shield up to help your team. I know you're not taking direct damage, but you're doing it to help your teammates get to certain spots. You're starting to button mash, or not button mash, you're starting to just spam. Yeah, like look at this. You don't want to do that. Now you only have 4 seconds of any value here, and you're going to spend most of it blocking. I know you wanted space control, but all you need to do for space control is to keep your numbers up by putting a shield up there to let your teammates rotate, and then get aggressively as time goes. You're starting to just spam your buttons a lot, and that's your problem. Don't do this yet. Wait a second. Now. Yeah, but you want to be aggressive with it. You just want to go for a backline trade. Any type of kill you can get here is huge. No point even like, truthfully, there's no point of even backing up here. I see what, like, you just staggered yourself. See? What do I think about going top? So I like playing top, but this goes back to where I've talked about before, where, and I did mention it a little bit earlier, the question being asked is like going up here and dropping down. I do like going this way, but this is a bronze 1 game. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think it's a lot harder to make that one work because you have to get everybody to commit to the idea that you need some time. And I think that players will like kind of just run to the cart over and over again, right? Like you'll just like slam into the cart. I don't think you'll be able to like set that up effectively. So sometimes some of that strategy I don't put in there yet because I don't think like it could go as well, but it is true. This is a pathway you can go and you end up funneling down from here and it can go really well. But I kind of have to kind of go with what's going on in these games. And yeah, so what is that Mei ult? I call this, it's the last second Mei ultimate because they think they need to use it. There's only like what, about to be 10 seconds on the clock. So that's just you got to use your ultimate sometime. Might as well use it instead of in your spawn. So use it even in Masters if you go. There's always 1 or 2 going main. Exactly. And technically you can have somebody go main, but it needs to be timed, right? Like you need your teammates to understand that it's like kind of a push and pull. So you need your teammates to go. And a lot of this, by the way, was just your team was doing the same default thing over and over again, and gave up some of your opportunities. It's just hard to like get players to do that type of concept. A lot of those like push and pull plays where you have people go from different angles, you need like it to be timed as a distraction. So like when you're up on high, you also need your teammates to the left to start being able to push, but you can't have them push too early because if they push too early and they get picked off, now your play's 10 times worse. So it's like, it's just a fine line between getting your teammates to set up for that. Obviously, as you climb, I think that type of gameplay gets a little bit more common, but yeah. Anyway, let's go see how your defense goes. Your attack was okay. Like the thing is that, and I'll pause it very quickly before I go into this. Like you wanted to know like what happened there and on that attack. You just did the same thing for 5 minutes straight. If you don't change up those plays or you don't alt stack correctly, you're going to lose. You have like 2 options. You start to change up what you're doing, whether that's going high ground, whether that's taking the left side control, whether that's just going to their back line and seeing what happens. You just sat there and basically played into an Orissa's play style. So you're in that moment where I talk about sometimes you need to be a playmaker. At no point did you become a playmaker on third point. You just became a wait for my teammates to make a play and then try to make a play. If your teammates can't make a play, it means that other stuff needs to be done to create space. That's where space creation comes in. And to reiterate here for people wondering about space creation, I want you to go on the perspective of a DPS or a support. If you're playing DPS or support in Overwatch, right? Which, you know, obviously if you're a tank player, there's probably been a chance where you've played those heroes at some point, right? Something to reiterate on this one is like, if you're playing support or DPS, do you prefer when the Orisa on their team is right up in front of your face? Or do you prefer when your tank is really far up and they can't really shoot you because your team has so much room? That's what you have to think about. And you have to make sure you're in line of sight, though. Like, so that's the two things you need to think about is how far can I keep the distance for their team from my team? Of course, it's all comp dependent. If you have like a May, I mean, you know, even then, like you still can do it, right? Number two is my team in line of sight to help me if they turn for me? Those are the two things you need to worry about. You do that, you're going to have a good time on tank. Okay, let's see what happens. You're on defense, holding up close. I, again, do not recommend holding up this close on Numbani. It's a one-and-done team fight. I also understand, just like with Blizzard World, I see it happen in Blizzard World all the time too, that ranks will play differently. So I'm not going to take away what you're trying to do here on this play. I would say, if anybody's wondering, the best way to really play Numbani, and again, I will do a map thing eventually. I have a video, if you even check the post, if you have questions on it. But the general best way to play this is to have people set up on this side and on this side, right? Try to control coast if you can. This is coast. But deny these chokes. Force them down here. If they go this way, you're at an advantage. But if you end up here, you're basically one and done, right? Here, if you lose somebody, because you're playing these angles, you open up opportunity and kills, right? But also, I like the ground fire over here. But if you play up here, you're basically one and done. If they once they get you, that's it. That's the point. There's just no retake. There's nothing. You just lose the point. And you have no really good backup spots. Basically, you're going to be out of position all the time. But I do know in bronze that, as we saw previously, this is just where stuff plays. So do your best to use cover, minimize your cooldown usage. Also, there's a Pharah flanking. Notice how the Orisa went for your Zenyatta in the back line, but you're just standing here playing into that? That kill doesn't seem like a lot right now, right? But it really does, because you were late to the reaction, you went in to go trade, you killed the Orisa, but then everybody else fell over, and now your team will be grinded down, and in theory, they'll spawn up really quickly here. We'll see what happens. On Blizzard World was the best place to set up. Further back. Yeah, you don't play the choke, you just spam the choke. Once you win the first team fight, you go up to the area, and then you back up as they get closer. It's yeah, pretty straightforward on that one, but it's definitely like not how it's usually played in a lot of ranks. Thankfully, they decided to run one by one to the point, so that one and done theory is out the window. Make sure to thank their team for the play style they just went with. You're going right back to it, okay. I don't mind going for poke damage. Just make sure you back up. Never mind. Make sure you shield. Shield. You need a shield for your Mei to get out. There you go. That was a little bit late. Your teammates shouldn't feel like they have to use lamp there. If I see my Mei out of position, I'm shielding my Mei out. Granted, it's more in your Mei's position than anything else, so. All right. Okay. All right. Yep, a lot of just standing around here. You're eventually going to get grinded down with this. I'm kind of letting these plays happen because, like, you can see it. You just got to surround it. And that's why I want you to control the sides of the maps up top rather than just run it down mid, because that's usually what happens after a while. You just get grinded down. Okay, second point now, right? You're on second point. What's your play here? Playing corner's fine for now. Remember where cover is. I prefer the other side on cover because this is going to angle you away from your teammates and line of sight them. The other one has a mini and also allows for you to like hide his cover there, which also creates an angle, which is the right side door right in front of you where the Moira is. I prefer that a little bit more than the left side because then you just end up like making it difficult on your team's angles. Your team's pushing in. You're over here holding block. Yeah. I think, like, once the team fight doesn't go from the default, we just shoot at each other, like, right in front of us, you get a little bit lost. And I think that just stems from, like, the playstyle. And hopefully you're kind of picking up on some of the things we're mentioning about that playstyle. Yeah, shield in the window's good. I would have put it in front of the window more, but that's the correct play. You gotta block. Yeah. You just play directly in the middle. That's why I would have preferred if you went to the right side. You said the ultimate? Yep. The thing is I know why they didn't ult that, because they got purpled, but I think that it goes back to if they had the proper position, and I think they would have ulted it. Because, like, you just have so much more opportunity. Now you're gonna ult. You're gonna have to, right? But you can't give them this map control. Remember, Vortex, the back left where the Bastion is, not where the Orisa is. But see, you're just in range. Wow, that range is forgiven. That's a Moira, by the way. That's not your Moira to your right, just so you know. The one that directly went in front of you, that Moira probably is thanking you. Take advantage of those kills. Why I decided to use that? That's been the norm, and then something that needs to be worked on is, like, just popping Nemesis form to pop it really far away. I've already kind of given that feedback a little bit. Of, like, it's a lot of just Nemesis form and then just, like, blocking and running, or going to assume that you just lagged out or something there, got minimized. All right. Yeah, I mean, it really is just a lot of standing around. That's the problem you run into. You're just waiting for things to happen. So. Yep. And you almost have this tendency, and I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, you have a tendency to back up. Like, it's like your tendency when you are in, like, regular form is just to keep backing up, and then when you pop your Nemesis form, you also back up. I think you really need to learn, like, space control on this, because the more, like, space you give up to the other team, the less likely you can win a team fight. So you really need to be more of, like, that wall here. It's the same thing as, like, Wrecking Ball, like, where as Wrecking Ball, it's not just about sitting there and, like, standing in front of their team. It's about going to their backline to pull pressure back for your teammates. And while they're completely different tanks and different play styles, it has the same effectiveness, right? So if you just back up, you're just basically hoping your teammates get a kill. And, like, yeah, you know, there's some ways you can make that work. For example, let's say I'm playing Sigma and my teammate has a Mercy pocket. I'm gonna take space control, but I'm also gonna, like, not feed, because I know I'm gonna have less healing. So I need to find a way that brings value to that pocket, but also I don't have to run in as much as I normally would because I'm waiting for the picks to happen. This is not a comp that waits for that. So you just need to create that space for your teammates. Your Mei has actually been tanking more than you've been tanking, specifically on this defense half too. So I want you to think about that. There's the normal Vortex. You just throw it at Orisa. You're not thinking about where the Orisa is going to go. You're not even thinking about what it can do for backline. So for example, something I do with Vortex is if I see people back here, sometimes I literally will just Vortex right here to distract these two, to kind of, like, inconvenience them, to force them into, like, a line of sight, and then you get a free kill here. You just do a lot of default stuff that I think just happens. So, like, you've basically made it the gameplay loop to do that, and sometimes the gameplay loop you gotta do a little bit more. There's gonna be more to it, is basically what I'm getting at with those gameplay loops. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, you're playing very default Ramattra playstyle. Exactly. It's not. Also, I make this mistake a lot. Stop throwing vortexes into the javelin spin. I know it looks like there's animation underneath. I have so many things eaten on the floor by Orisa. Just don't throw it into Orisa like that. Also, to point out to you, if Orisa's gold, is that vortex going to work? Sure ain't. So don't vortex Orisa at that point, right? If Orisa doesn't have gold, a little bit of a different story, because if Orisa doesn't have gold and you can kind of find that timing, now you can get a free kill on Orisa. But if Orisa has gold and is, like, immune to CC, why waste a vortex? You're gonna do, and when there's gold, Orisa also has damage reduction. So not only are you wasting a cooldown to do very minimal damage, you're basically giving Orisa free space because of it. So you gotta find ways to, like, that Orisa always has gold. Believe it or not, doesn't. I think people don't look for the timings as much. Either way, you just have to reset now. I mean, you have the right idea of going up high, but now you got to set up on third. I mean, it's only a minute 30. You have a win here. Hold the corner. Right here, do not wide peek this. If you wide peek this, you will fall over. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't think that shield was going to go there either, so I'll put that up to a, wow, that shield shouldn't have gone there. Okay, wait a second. Okay, now you're at the corner. How are you going to play this? Go to the left side stairs. See, this is the problem. Again, I think your problem is you always try to disengage back and safely. Just go here, right? At this point, you're hecked if you go here and you rotate incorrectly, right? So what you need to do is you need to be a distraction. Your teammates can get out by themselves. You're going to go here. And the reason why you go here is because you need them to pull away. If they look at you, you get free kills. If they chase you, you go up here and you rotate around, right? But you need to create that angle. What you do is you're doing the same rotation back, and you also went here and then rotated over, right? So like you need to really think about your disengage spots too. You're defaulting to the same spot. So it's easy for their team to be able to follow up on all that because you're all stacked on each other, right? Okay, now you're stuck here. Yep, now you're getting funneled down. Do you see why I wanted you to go to the other room, right? Because the cart will stop there too. So you have this opportunity. Instead of you getting maybe a good Mei ultimate here, possibility of a Zen ult, your team gets snowballed and you lose the whole team fight. And this goes back to what I was just saying. There's a lot of good that you're doing, but I think that you play a very safe play style, and you need to become more of a playmaker. Basically, the point I'm making is you have good moments, but I don't think you think about the next step a lot of the time. It's basically, I back up if I see them, and that's it, right? So I really want you to start to think about more of taking those like aggressive angles in good positions. Second point, Numbani. Great example. Play the doorway. You can rotate out safely and still have good team fights. Have a health pack. You can always end up back with your team. But there's like this standing in the middle of the road stuff that you're doing is just asking to get grinded down. No matter how good your supports are, you're going to fall over eventually. Because with the DPS passive in Overwatch, it makes the healing on you 15% less. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And eventually you just get grinded down. So yeah, it is playing scared. And I think what you need to do is I want you to start thinking about the space creation I talked about. Create the space. Take map control. Think about your disengage spot should be to a safe spot that still creates space, right? Again, back to what I said, go into a doorway and disengage in that way. Enough of this like standing in the middle of the open. Vortexes need to be used more to deny space, use your shields to block off stuff. As you can see, a lot of little things. There's some good stuff here, though. I do think that if you just do that stuff, you'll climb. You'll be fine. All right, so you got this. You absolutely got this. You like the video? Make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. Leave a comment. All that helps. If you want to submit your own, my Discord's where you can submit any stuff. Pretty much what we're doing. If you want to watch more of these, it's going to pop up. It's like on the side, I think. And good spectators. Check them out. With that being said, hope you all have an amazing day /night.